Yeah, I'm just OG Mike back with analysis on how people, basically how men see women. You know, men gonna always love women, beautiful women. All types of women. It's just in our nature. But is it something that women don't understand why men want women? And so women got in their mind that a man doesn't, want to see a beautiful body. Men fucking love some yams. Ooh. But, here's one of the OGs that actually set this shit in motion back in the day. Check them out.
I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny.
The elephant in the room is this. Why do black men like big butts? And is that even true? Or is it just another wrong racial stereotype?
It's true.
They're questions that have launched 1,000 rap lyrics and even a few scientific studies. Hey, I'm Ken LaCourte. Here, I try to give you a fair and balanced look at geopolitical issues, awkward questions around race and gender, art standards in the African American
look at that shit.
Cultural artwork, from jazz album covers to hip-hop music videos, has consistently celebrated curvier body types. There's also been a strong community emphasis on resisting mainstream beauty standards that are often rooted in European ideals. For many, embracing fuller figures is a way of kind of honoring their cultural heritage and identity. So maybe the preference for larger body types among black men isn't just a superficial trend, but a result of thousands of years of evolutionary adaptations and cultural traditions. But what about white preferences? Well, African beauty standards...
Well, we already know about y'all preferences and stuff. Y'all prefer the 36, 22, 36 model. That's what all those white girls back in the 1920s and 30s and 40s would exemplify for white guys, because you guys were in control of what you guys thought was sexy and alluring and beautiful.
Standards remain relatively stable. European ideals took a wild ride. Back in the day, Europeans liked those big booties too. Renaissance paintings are full of voluptuous women, ample curves. Rubens,
listen
the 17th
to that
century
white
Flemish
man,
painter, was so famous for his full-figured nudes that we still use the term Rubenesque to describe them today. But then something happened. Europe industrialized. And with it came a seismic shift in beauty standards. The Industrial Revolution, they associated thinness with moral purity and self-control. Bigger women, they were seen as lazy and lacking willpower. A 180-degree turn. Fast forward to the 20th century, and things get even more intense. The rise of mass media, magazines, movies, TV, started beaming these new ideals into every home. Fashion magazines standards in the African American
look at that shit.
Cultural artwork, from jazz album covers to hip standards, pushed increasingly thin models. Hollywood's
trip out of those all white people though, but black people still had theirs, because like he said, they could let that beautiful, voluptuous, beautiful thing, slave woman, not get tapped and shit into. They just despicable.
Starlets got skinnier. By the 1960s, we had Twiggy, literally named after a twig, as a top beauty icon. But here's the kicker. While European standards were changing, African beauty ideals stayed relatively stable.
Right.
Many African societies industrialized more slowly. Some still haven't. So the pressures that shifted European ideals weren't as intense. But come back to America for a second. Black Americans live in an industrialized society too. Why haven't their preferences changed? And it's a good question.
Because we like big butts, like Mick say. It's in our genes.
And it's because African American culture developed its own unique identity. During slavery, Black Americans created a distinct counterculture. Rejecting white standards became a form of resistance, and strong oral traditions and tight-knit communities kept cultural preferences strong, even as the broader society changed around them. And at the same time, white America basically rejected them. Forced segregation created parallel societies with different values. It limited the influence of mainstream media and strengthened the internal community bonds. For blacks, the concept of America's melting pot happened a lot more slowly. Even as black Americans gained more access to mainstream culture, there was often a strong pushback against whitewashing beauty standards. The Black is Beautiful movement of the 1960s is an example.
Hey.
Today, we're seeing some interesting
Black
convergence.
is always going to be
Mainstream
beautiful.
beauty standards are becoming more inclusive of curvier figures. Now, is this a genuine appreciation, or is it marketing exploitation?
Both.
Is that all intermixed? I don't know. So the next time you see a Renaissance painting or a modern fashion magazine, remember, beauty standards aren't set in stone. They're as changeable as the societies that create them. Hey, just a reminder that if I mess up any facts here, as always, I'll address it in a pinned comment below. But when you think about it, even this video is coming at things from a European standpoint. I mean,
Exactly.
from an African point of view, the question isn't what I posed, but instead, why do white guys like small butts? And that gets at something deeper. For centuries, European standards dominated global beauty. They owned the magazines,
There it
controlled the
is.
fashion houses, they ran the movie studios. They got to tell everyone else what beautiful meant.
Right.
But nature's a stubborn thing. Those African preferences that developed over thousands of years weren't just random choices. They were rooted in biology. But recently, something's changed. Now, maybe it was the internet democratizing beauty standards. Maybe it was the rise of hip-hop culture. But what's really going on is more interesting than just preferences. We're watching centuries of parallel beauty standards finally collide. Now, some say it's cultural appropriation. Others call it progress. But here's what they're missing. African American beauty standards didn't just survive. In some ways, they're winning the culture war. Kim Kardashian helped build an empire by copying black beauty ideals. So it's certainly possible that Sir Mix-a-Lot was a philosopher ahead of his time. I find that interesting, but not interesting enough to change the team I'm on. So look, this video about body preferences is pretty lighthearted. But in recent years, we've seen the body positivity movement turn into something that's deadly toxic. Our media and our society went from trying to be nice to overweight people to something that celebrated and encouraged radically dangerous lifestyles. It's like some people lost their minds. I dug into the ugly underside of that and saw that it was driven by politics and profit. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm active in the comments below and hope that if you find this interesting, you'll join me again. Take care.
Yeah, just to expound on that a little bit, back in the late 70s, 80s, you know, white girls always had the pretty faces, the long hairs, the big titties and shit, you know. But they had those flat iron butts. They straight down like a board. Yeah. So, and that's why black women have always been desired, because those black women,
Standards in the African American
look at that shit.
Cultural
Women, even in those days, still had those nice voluptuous butts, and that's why everybody wanted to have a black woman. And so now, as times have changed and migrated up into the 90s now, everybody understands why the black queen is such an indomitable queen. That's why everybody wants to be her now. That's why everybody wants to have a big butt. You got so many people now with big butts that's trying to be a black woman now. They're trying to steal what beauty is from us to make it their own. You know, so I'm going to bring back some other examples to help show that, but it's amazing that, you know, our queens are just still the queens of the world.